Well, good morning. Welcome to Coffee with the Pastor. Today we are looking at Mark chapter 5, a very um, interesting, even spooky story we're going to have. And so, well, let's just get into it. They went across the lake to the region of the Gerasenes. When Jesus got out of the boat, a man with an evil spirit came from the tombs to meet him. The man lived in the tombs. No one could bind him any more, not even with a chain. For he had often been chained hand and foot, but he tore the chains apart and broke the irons on his feet. No one was strong enough to subdue him. Night and day among the tombs and in the hills, he would cry out and cut himself with stones. So Jesus gets in a boat and he goes across the lake, and he ends up getting on what I believe to be a hillside, and there's tombs there, and there's a man with an evil spirit coming up to him, and this man with the evil spirit really couldn't live in town anymore. He had just gotten too bad, and they would try and chain him, and he'd break the chains, and so they put him to live out there in the tombs, and he would just hang around the tombs. He'd run up and down the hill and just act crazy. We actually visited a place on one of the trips when we were over there where they think this might have happened. I think it is where it happened. It's a big kind of cliff goes down, and then up above, now there's a park up there. And in fact, the day we were there were some Israeli folks having a barbecue up there and having a family time. It's a beautiful view from up on top of that cliff, that hill up there. You can overlook all of the Sea of Galilee. Now there's some other spots where they think it might have happened as well, but I think this is the most likely place where it probably happened. And but I tried to imagine myself, all the pigs up there, and then the hillside, the cliffside where they would have come off. And let's just read about it. When he saw Jesus from a distance, he ran and fell on his knees in front of him. He shouted at the top of his voice, "What do you want with me, Jesus, Son of the Most High God? Swear to me that you won't torture me." For Jesus had said to him, "Come out of this man, you evil spirit." So Jesus had already commanded this evil spirit to come out, but these evil spirits did not come out. That's unusual, because usually when Jesus commanded an evil spirit to come out, they did. So Jesus asked his name. "What's your name?" He says, "Legion." He replied, "For we're many." And he begged Jesus again and again not to send them out of the area. A large herd of pigs were feeding on the nearby hillside. The demons begged Jesus, "Send us among the pigs, allow us to go into them." And he gave them permission, and the evil spirits came out and went into the pigs. The herd, about 2,000 in number, rushed down the steep bank into the lake and were drowned. Those tending the pigs ran off and reported this in the town and countryside, and the people went out to see what had happened. When they came to Jesus, they saw the man who had been possessed by the legion of demons sitting there, dressed and in his right mind, and they were afraid. Those who had seen it told the people what had happened to the demon-possessed man, and told about the pigs as well. Then the people began to plead with Jesus to leave their region. There are a lot of questions about this. First of all, what are pigs doing in Israel? This is Jewish folks. They don't eat pigs. They don't sacrifice pigs. They think pigs are very unclean. Well, what are they doing there? Well, what you have to understand, and I didn't really understand this till I traveled over there, is that there was a pretty good Gentile presence over there. There were two pretty large Gentile cities there in Galilee. There's one about 4 miles from where Jesus grew up, at Sepphoris, Zipperi, how they pronounce it over there. And probably that's where Joseph and Jesus went to make their living as carpenters. And but it was a Roman city, had Roman houses, had theater, had streets, and what's interesting about that, they had grooves for the chariots that you can still see there today. And so there were a pretty good Roman presence there, and there was a pretty good Roman presence over in Tiberias as well. That's where Herod had made his headquarters, and so there were a lot of Gentiles around. And I think they still wanted to eat their bacon and ham and stuff. And so there's some people who were raising pigs for them. And so they were there, and the man who was not in his right mind, who was possessed by demons, and Jesus cast the demons out into the pigs, and they went rushing down the hill into the lake. And like I say, the place where I visited, it could have been very well that. I'm sorry I didn't take pictures of it, but it's a pretty impressive place, and it's a place where I think it would have happened. And then the man's in his right mind, and then the people come out and they see that he's in his right mind, and it scares them, and they ask Jesus to leave. They don't want Jesus there. Some have suggested that they cared more about the pigs than they did the man. It could be. But so Jesus went. It looked like he just healed that man, and he's going to get back in the boat and go, because they've asked him to go. So as Jesus was getting into the boat, the man who had been demon-possessed begged to go with him. Jesus did not let him, but said, "Go home to your family and tell them how much the Lord has done for you and how he had mercy on you." So the man went away and began to tell in the Decapolis how much Jesus had done for him, and all the people were amazed. This man became kind of an evangelist. He started traveling around to the Decapolis, which were the 10 cities, and again, Gentile presence was there. This is also considered a fulfillment of prophecy. In Isaiah chapter 65, he says this, and it's a prophecy about how that the Jewish people are going to be very obstinate, so he's going to go to another people, to the Gentile people. He says, all day long, this is Isaiah 65 too. It says, all day long I have held out my hands to an obstinate people who walk in ways not good, pursuing their own imaginations. The people continually provoke me to my very face, offering sacrifices in gardens and burning incense on altars of brick, who sit among the graves and spend their nights keeping secret vigil, who eat the flesh of pigs. This is a lot of people consider this event that happened with the healing of the man, the demon-possessed man of Legion, a fulfillment of prophecy that Jesus was going to reach out to the Gentiles. He was going to reach out beyond the Jewish nation. I think there's a lot of truth to that. But today, as we begin, as we kind of wrap up, let me just give you some food for thought. Jesus, when he was having trouble casting out this demon, apparently he did, he asked the demon his name. What's your name? He said, Legion, for we're many. Sometimes in order to cast out the demons in your life, you have to know the name. That name might be, an addiction. It might be negativity. It might be doubt. It might be, but you talk about the demon that gets you. What are your demons? What name it, and then ask Jesus to help you with it, and he will. Well, we'll continue with chapter 5 tomorrow, and not all the stories are quite that interesting, but everything Jesus does is on purpose and quite interesting. So you have a great day, and I'll talk to you tomorrow, and we'll look at more of Mark chapter 5. Bye now.